There we go. I got it all right now. All right, cool. So let's have a quick conversation. So I don't even know where to start, but I think I'm gonna start right here. I've made some changes in terms of the art and creating. I just got my master's back for the EP, and I'm very proud of the work I've done. Probably more proud of that work than any other work I've ever done before. I mean, I do have an album from 2017 that emerged out of a place of depression and suicidal ideation, which I hope to never ever go back to ever again in my life. And during that time, I kept the name. I had the name, Many Face God. I'm not gonna go into those reasons here on this video, but I switched to Twin Obsidian. At one point, when I was doing like Christian rap in my early 20s, I was Jubilee. And then at one point in 2012 to about 2016, I had the name Saint Anthony, which now, being an Orthodox Christian, is kind of cringe and weird to call myself Saint Anthony, but I tried to be cool because there was an artist named Saint Vincent. It was a woman who named herself Saint Vincent. I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, cool, let's go with the saint names. And then like there's all these people now, Saint whatever their artist name is. And I had this profound, quick conversation, but it was profound for me. There was a man, a friend or acquaintance, I don't know what you want to call him. His name is Ramis. Anyways, when we were at my friend's funeral this year, she died too young. Rest in peace, Jasenia. May God have mercy on you and memory eternal. Anyways, he said to me, the name Many Face God doesn't really go with, your Christian beliefs. It's from a different era of your life. And I was trying to carry it forward because it's like, well, I don't want to change the name because of the brand and stuff. And I feel like I've had this, I guess you could call it a 20-year struggle. I'm 40 now with my art because I didn't feel it was perfect enough. And as we know, like that's the enemy of progress, is trying to be perfect and trying to have perfection. So I was like, you know what? I gotta stick to the name. And I did. And then more recently on Instagram, and I'll be, having to make a YouTube channel and all these different things for it, which this video will probably go on there, and then there'll be snippets of this on Instagram and such. But the point is that I decided I'm just gonna go with my name. And I think when I look back at the last 20 years of making art, writing for others, honing my craft, building a vocal coaching business in Miami, I think I tried to be cool too much. And I think I did a pretty poor job at it, to be honest. So, the name I'm gonna go with now, which I feel like just captures it, whatever the art is, however you want to kind of look at that, is Sincerely Anthony. I've explored a lot of different genres and a lot of different styles of music. I started off with funk and soul and R&B and singer-songwriter type stuff, acoustic guitar and all that. That's how I, cut my teeth on learning songwriting and stuff. Learned piano, eventually learned a DAW and how to produce inside of a DAW and yada yada. So I have an EP that's coming out, but I'm going to be releasing singles first. But this work of art is only 5 songs, and I'm already working on the next project, which is going to be a little more in tune with the sound that I want to make. Anyways, the point is that it's going to be authentically, sincerely, just Anthony, right? Like, sincerely Anthony. That's it. Like, there's no brand, there's no gimmick, there's no pretending to be someone I'm not, right? I like vintage stuff. I like old sounding music because I grew up on that. I mean, I grew up listening to my mom talk about heartbreak and write poems and, you know, see, I've seen her heart broken multiple times, unfortunately, throughout my life. And she would listen to the oldies, right? Like Minnie Riperton and like Luther Vandross, you know, and these old singer-songwriters, R&B or like folky stuff from the 70s. My mom grew up in the 70s, you know. I didn't appreciate the music back then, right? When you're young, you don't really appreciate your parents' taste until you do. And then when you do appreciate their taste, it is an entirely different experience altogether. So, this project is essentially going to be that. You know, there's the whole like, what's your artist identity, archetype, and all that stuff. And yeah, we're going to touch on that. And, you know, when you, the only thing I could do was to write the songs that I grew up listening to. And at some point, I got into breakdancing, and I was really, really good at it. And then, you know, I got an injury on my hand, and I stopped, kind of just waned, right? It's something that didn't really carry on into my 20s or 30s, and now I turned 40 this year. So it's something that's still with me because I love it and have a lot of memories, fond memories of middle school and high school being a breakdancer, a b-boy. They called me b-boy Bam Bam. And for people who know me in that era, like they'll remember that. I think like moving forward, there's not going to be a change anymore of name or like I'm going to do all this branding because I don't even have the desire to be like famous or anything like that. I just want to make good music, live off of my music, support my family, and bring joy and connection to human beings when they listen to music, right? Like that's what matters to me: intimacy, connection, speaking from the heart, creating music from the heart. And I think I lived in my head a lot with like making the art. And I think I'm done with the whole like, let's be cool. I don't know if I want to be cool anymore, you know? I think I just want to be myself. And it's not like this, like, you know, like this Gnostic notion of like, you have to find yourself. We don't find ourselves, right? Like ourselves are revealed to us by our Creator. And that's another thing, right? Like Jesus has been an incredibly important part of my life for the last 20 years, even during the times I went away from that and explored other things. I always came back to Christ. I've been now officially baptized Orthodox since December of 2025. And I'm not leaving. I'm staying. I'm locked in with Orthodoxy. But it informs and impacts every facet of my being and life, which means that art means something different now than it meant before, when it was coming from ego, or it was coming from wanting to have validation or impress the pretty girls because I can sing well, etc. You know, play an instrument, write the songs. And Now it's, because of my mother, thanks to my mother, who I truly am as a person. Not the brand archetype, but it just so happens that most of my songs fit in this particular archetype, is the lover. And being someone who loves wisdom and, sage-like philosophies and teachings, etc., and those things, and draws value from different, traditions or whatever. There's a little part of me that has a sage-like propensity, if you will. But now, I think we're just gonna stick with being a lover, trying to be a wise lover. I've been in love a few times in my life, but not like how I'm in love now. And hands down, the greatest love I've ever known in my entire life, and that's my wife. And so, some songs are inspired by the past and heartbreak and working through the confusion and the sort of suspension in uncertainty that comes with heartbreak and how am I going to live without you sort of stuff. But then I also have a deeply rich, beautiful experience of loving the person as they should be loved and want to be loved, and receiving it in return in like manner. I think this is the first and only time in my life that someone has actually really truly loved me for the fullness of who I am as a person, with all the mistakes and all of the baggage and all of the history and all of the idiosyncrasies and imperfections and character flaws and all that. There is this mutual sort of acceptance between us, and I feel like I can write from this place authentically now, genuinely. So I said all those different things to say, be on the lookout for music that's going to be coming out, and the themes largely are love. I don't know, I might make it look pretty. Some people said it sounds good. Hopefully you think so. Everyone's trying to do the brand thing, I gotta, and as an artist, coach type person, I get that. And every artist has a world, right, that their music lives in, that their aesthetic lives in, etc., and all this. I personally find it to be extremely exhausting to sort of put that all together and to sort of package it in this marketable way so that people like it. And it's like, look, if I have to bend over backwards to get you to like the music, maybe the music isn't that good. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put out the music. I'm gonna do the reels and do the, hey TikTok, hey Instagram, hey YouTube, this is the music, and blah blah blah, and the performance reels and all of that nitty gritty minutia. Okay. But this time is different because I'm going to do it sincerely, hence Sincerely Anthony. And I don't think I want to play the game of trying to be cool. I think I'm just gonna not play the game at all and just be myself, I'm inspired by a host of all types of different kinds of music, and I let those different eras and genres of music influence me at times. And I like this, I want to make something like this. I mean, that's kind of like, similar to this or in this vibe, right? I draw inspiration from so many people, and I guess this is a little video to be like, hey, what we're doing now is just sincerity. So with that being said, I hope you follow along on the journey and appreciate the art if you do. If not, you're still loved. But It's time to just put out good art sincerely, authentically, and hopefully build a community of people locally, nationally, maybe globally, I don't know, that are like, I love your music, I like you as a person, etc. So that's what this little video is about. And yeah, peace.